What's up? Why have you not subscribed to the 11th Commandment YouTube channel? Today's guest is J. Mike from Unisport, from Boot Nerds.
But for those of you who are still here, despite whatever he's doing,
Link is right down below on the Way of Will John podcast. If you want to see the video versions of that, you just got to subscribe right here, okay? Click that button, make your life better. Let's go. You adapt. You figure it out. You find a way. You go around the wall. You go over the wall. You go through the wall if you need to. You go backwards if you have to, but you adapt. This one principle is something that you are just never going to escape. It doesn't matter if you want to be a footballer, a doctor, whatever. Follow me to the classroom.
What we have in store for you today to improve your touch by 89%.
You're going to figure out that sooner or later, you're going to have to adapt to every situation that you're in because it's always not going to be exactly like the plan that you thought. Right now is probably the perfect example for all of this. Everybody's at home. None of the plans are the way they should be. Nothing's normal. How are you finding ways to get better as a player? Did you just decide that because you can't go to the field, it's not going to happen? Well, that mentality, whether you have it now and you think that just because the whole world has stopped, that you can stop too, that sort of mentality is not the mentality that people take when they know they're going to be pros. You're going to meet all sorts of obstacles on your way in trying to become a pro. How you adapt with these things is what tells you whether or not you have any chance of making it in the future. Which is funny because the thing about it is, as you learn how to adapt, it gets easier. So at first when you're thinking, I can't do this thing, well, it translates to other parts of your life. If you can figure out a way to sort out this solution right now, the one where you can't go to the field or you're not supposed to train with the ball outside and all that stuff, if you can figure this out, when you go to solve the next problem, one that's maybe even harder or not even in the same realm, it becomes like this. And that's the mentality that players take when they're younger in order to make sure that they get there when they're older. If you're not committed to improving, you're basically done. Every player that I've ever seen, all of the young players that I've ever coached and seen become something in the game were so committed to improvement that it was obvious. If they were committed to going there and putting in the training and actually doing the 1 hour, if they said it's going to be 1 hour, they're going to do 1 hour. If I see them after training, if I see them 1 week suck.
Coach, thanks for having me.
In a drill, and then 2 weeks later, they're the best in the drill. You know something's there. If you don't have this mentality, if you don't believe and aren't committed to actually continually improving your game, if it's not something that's just kind of like, well, it'd be all right if I just kind of get there, you know, it's fine if it happens or if it goes up sometimes and down sometimes. If you're not committed to that improvement and that excellence, it's also probably over, which is not not everybody wants to do this, but these are the things, this is why we're here. This is a journey that I've been through, that we as Team GOLUREMI, we have guys that have gone through this entire process and understand and can identify people and these mentalities, and that is one for sure. So if you are going to take this seriously, you have to know that you have to be committed to constant improvement. It's a never-ending game. Once you get to a point where you feel like you're good, there's always a billion more things that you can learn. That's how you stay sharp, and that's how you ensure you're going to be a top player on your team, whatever team you're on now, and ensure that you're going to be a top player when you get to the next level and you keep climbing and climbing and climbing. You have to expect success. You have to expect to know that it's the norm for you to win, and you have to hate losing. You have to abhor losing. GOLUREMI word of the day, abhor. Did I say it right?
Abhor.
Yes, I did. This sort of mentality is also what is going to make sure that you get there to the next level. And whenever I spot this in players that I see that are younger, or even in their early parts of their career on teams that I'm on, you know they've got something. If they expect in training to win their duels, win their little battles, if they love it, and if they expect that, then you want that guy on your team. And so coaches want that guy on their team. So just a little quick story about a friend of mine who had an amazing opportunity at a trial in Florida. Brilliant player, unbelievable striker, wanted nothing else but to just play the game as a pro, definitely a dream of his to go pro. And he said to me, I'm gonna go down there, but I don't want to chase it. I don't want to be one of those guys that has to chase it and do all that stuff. They don't normally take people, but like if it happens down there, that's great. If not, after that, I don't want to think about it and I don't want to do it. And when I heard that, I knew it was over. I knew it was done. And what happened? I don't know specifically on the trial what exactly happened, but he didn't become a pro. Now, did he have the ability to become a pro? Easily. Which, just a little side note, guys, for the amount of teams, the amount of countries that I have played in, there are players on every team that do not belong there because of technique, their physicality, all these things. You're gonna play with guys, you're gonna just go, why in God's name are you on our team? There must be somebody better. So it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey for all those things, but the point that I'm just trying to make is that if he had expected success, if he knew that he would achieve it, it might have happened there. I don't know what sort of mentality he brought to that first trial, but I can guarantee you it's not the same sort of mentality that I would have brought, or that many of the players who were dying and hungry to get that opportunity go in, whether they get it or not, all right? Because there's something about going in and saying, I don't care if it happens or not, and just being able to play. That's good. But there's also something that says when you get met with disappointment and adversity, that you're going to keep going. And if you don't have that mentality and don't expect that, know that at the end of the day you are going to win, forget it. Not gonna happen. One of the easiest ways for us to spot a next super baller is that they get serious about the game. And to make it very easy for you guys, I had definitely had two different opportunities where I got serious about the game. And I've always enjoyed the game from before I can even remember, obviously, with my father being so entrenched in the game. It was just an easy thing for me to love. But I can tell you this, every time you see a player that realizes that it's something that they want to do, you know they're gonna do something in the future. Whether that means being able to play and get a college scholarship to pay, that's huge in its, in the first right. But let alone the players that realize that they can do something even more and make this a life for them. There's a moment usually where these kids realize, I really like this, I want to do more of this. And for me, I went to Mexico with the first U14 national team, and the trip was okay. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to, and they also put me at left back throughout part of this. And I remember I was juggling in the rain after. I was juggling some sort of fruit because I was just like, this is stupid. It needs to go better. It needs to happen. It needs to be better. And in those moments, that's it. It's just a decision. You make a decision on, this is something that I'm going to do. I'm going to move towards this direction. And because of that, a lot more will fall into place. So the same thing can happen. Now, you don't have to wait for a moment. You get to be the one to decide that you want to move in this direction. So if you're watching this video and you're still here and you're saying, I think this would be fun. I think it would be fun to have a job where I just go in the morning at 10 o'clock and kick the ball around with my friends and then I go home by 12. Yeah, that would be fun. So if you're watching this and you think that that's something that you want to do, there's a whole lot of other things that have to go with it. But at the end of the day, that's the type of goal that you're looking for. And it never happens unless you get serious about it.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Responsibility. Which is really just one of those big words that like the principal would tell you when you're like 8 or 9 and you get in trouble and they call you over to the side and they go, Kevin, if you just don't take responsibility for your actions, you're never going to get a good job and you won't know how to use the calculator because calculators are really important and we're going to need those. And that's what they told us in the 90s. What a bunch of shit. I don't need a calculator at all. I have the whole entire knowledge of the human race in my pocket. So if I could just go back to the 90s to tell all those people that I don't need your calculator, bruh. Okay? I don't even know what I was talking about. Responsibility. Okay. On a more serious note, though, you are actually going to have to take responsibility for your destiny. That's the point that I truly want to make here, is that Where you're going is your responsibility and nobody else's. And I remember some of the guys in TG, Team Goluremi, were telling me about a guy, a YouTuber who was complaining about trials being rigged or something along those lines, which is, that's going to happen. But you have to take responsibility. You take responsibility. We've said it in tons of other videos, but you're the one that's going to decide where and what and how things go, how they play out for real. That's on you. So when we see players in there that understand, they look at games that they lost 5-0, maybe they were truly outmatched. Maybe it definitely wasn't your fault. If they still look for ways for them to have done better in those games, boom, you know it. End of story. This kid's gonna be something. And that is the type of mentality that you need to take. When you get met with adversity, you look, even if it was not your fault, if it was your team's fault, if your goalie just let a stupid little goal in that he shouldn't have, whatever, it doesn't matter. You look at yourself, how could you have done better? The players that take that mentality onto the field and into their lives, they make something of themselves. End of story. All right, guys, that's the vid. So make sure, whether you want to be a footballer or not, implement these things in your life so you can make your life better, because that is what Team Goluremi is all about. Making our lives better, people, okay? Check out Instagram, Snapchat. Make sure to check out the 11th commandment like we said, and we will see you guys later. GOLUREMI.com. Check it. Peace.
Run and kick and flick and go the distance. Outside the box, not afraid to be different. Listen, it's Will John going long, train to be